Hello, world. I get upset all the time with the specific same set of circumstances. I basically think that people are making way, way more moves than me, and then I'm just like not really doing anything. I do lots, I think, with my time. I create lots of artworks and short. It takes me not very long to do lots of art and music, but I don't have like tons of resources or money just to be dropping records all the time, which I would do because I find it really easy to write. And like, I don't understand writing because I don't understand what people like. I want to write things a certain way, and then most of the time the people they don't like what I have to offer or whatever. I get all of these really weird feedback like, oh, interesting or whatever, or too creative. Too creative is most often. And then every once in a while I have somebody say that they like my stuff just fine. But I don't really understand content, the concept, because it's all based on like you must necessarily have a catalog of stuff, and then the people get to pick and choose what they want from you, right? But it's all kind of wallpaper now. Like, think about making animations, and I think about making movies, and I think that it would be really fun to make those things, but I also think that they are also like, I don't watch lots of movies. I don't read lots of comics, and I draw comics, you know? I'm like, I'm not really interested in reading lots, or like, one of the things that like, I would take these classes, and these people would say like, oh, you gotta watch lots of movies to get good at writing movies. That's not true at all. You can't get better at something by just consuming the thing. Like, I've eaten 100 different candy bars, and not one candy bar taught me the secrets to how to make candy bar. You know what I'm saying? You really have to just focus on writing if you want to be a good writer. And that just ends up being like a lot of grinding and not a lot of feedback. Like, how many friends out there? How many people's friends? Like, I don't know if it's just me or if it's anybody else, but I don't have friends who are like, hey, oh, let me hear your latest record. I don't think a single one of my friends listened to my album and gave me feedback. No, that's not true. One guy, and he's playing drums on my next record. As I was growing up, people didn't want to listen to my music. Now, and then and I was writing like radical stuff back then, and now I'm older, and people still don't want to listen to my music, and I'm writing stuff that I consider to be like pop and tangible stuff. And so it's like, it's weird. I didn't fall into the social media thing very easily, but then again, I also just like don't make friends like lots of people do. Like, when I was doing the music business before, and I was just playing bass mostly in bands, right? What I noticed was that all of these bands that had tours, well, actually, I shouldn't say all, because, well, to what I'm about to say. So, lots of the bands that I saw growing up were not very good. They just seemed to have friends, lots of women around a lot. And I learned later that George Clinton used to frown and not get ladies, and then he started smiling and he got ladies. So maybe I didn't smile enough, you know? It's entirely possible I wasn't nice enough to the ladies. But I got this Venus Scorpio thing going on, and so I just want to possess, you know? I want to have them. I want to have them all, and I want them all to be my property, you know? And that gets really intense. And so maybe that contributed to me not having success. I don't know, but I do know only like one band out of all the bands that I watched where the guy was legitimately an amazing musician, and then he ended up in he's still playing in bands, and making money making music. He's signed to Warner. It's like Warner Canada or whatever the hell. And then I'm not even really jealous of their success. That's the weird thing. I just look at what I do and I keep trying to change to get better, but I get older and older, and I keep thinking about like what is the relevance of older people in art? Like art. I always thought that older people made better art. I always thought that the older the people got, the better their art got. I don't necessarily think that about music, and I also don't think that music is necessarily art either. Like there's this tendency to clump everything into this art category, and I find it so frustrating because I'm like, what are you saying? Like, why do you make the garbage sit in with the art class, for example? Or like with music, it's so much different than art because of the way it's consumed. Like, people call comedy art. That doesn't make any sense. Art moves people to feel different things. Comedy is supposed to elicit one response. I basically look at things that are art and I think, does it have any other function other than being completely useless? And if it doesn't fit that category, then it's not art. And then I add on top of that, okay, maybe it's useless, a useless creation by a person, but the second test is it beautiful? And if it doesn't fall into those categories, I don't consider it into the art category, to be honest. I would just as easily discard it. And so that doesn't mean it needs to be wall art. You know, it can be many other things. Sound art is a thing. But I don't consider music to be an art for that reason. In any case, I think my point is that, like, what is attraction? Why am I talking to a screen right now? You know, I think about how many people could be watching this video, and I think if it ends up being 10 total, what was the point of all of that? What was the point of talking to a screen? However, now that I'm talking to the screen, I think I might do it more often because it feels nice to talk to the screen and just say what I'm thinking. You know, I want to be the greatest, most referenced artist ever alive. That would be awesome. That'd be so awesome. However, in this time, all I think is, like, how is that even possible? You know, do I have to put my face online? Do I have to just talk to the camera like this all the time? And then I'm like, are there any systems? I spend a lot of my energy just questioning in my mind, like, are there any systems out there? Like, where are you? What is this mystery that I'm missing that's going to bring it all together? You know, I had this 80-year-old look at my art and be like, wow, I haven't seen anything this interesting in 40 years. That's a really good compliment, but I'm not there yet. You know, I'm just making this thing that could easily do. Anybody could easily do it. It doesn't even take long to do what I do. And I think to myself, like, are there other ways? Are there little pockets that I'm missing? I want to make an iPad revolutionary fucking instrument. I want to make, what's that thing called? You know, the tarot deck? Like, I would have loved to invent something like that. I keep thinking to myself, there must be something, there must be some way, there must be somewhere that I have to go in order to discover this thing, the thing that people need, the thing that people want, the thing that will take everything to the next level. You know, I think about it a lot. I write my stories based on these ideas. Like, can I find it by drawing it into a science fiction novel? Does anybody else think this? Does anybody else think, like, specifically, like, can I change the world from one small thing that I do? I want to be so impactful with one move that I make, one small thing that, like, everybody changes, and they change permanently. They change everything about their outlook on life changes. I look outside, and the thing about outside is that it doesn't match what I hear online about what the world is like. And so I see all these people walking around and they're scared of stuff, and they talk about these things, but I don't think they realize, like, they don't have any perspective on the things that they're worried about. I grew up in Jamaica and I grew up in Canada, and the thing that I learned about growing up in Jamaica was that people don't have very much. Well, at least at the time, they didn't have very much, and people were getting by just fine. They didn't need all of this stuff. But then I was thinking about how in Canada, I have lots of stuff and people are miserable.